Today on Toy Habits, we will be taking an up-close and personal look at Cobra's intelligence officer, lieutenant to Cobra commander, and part of the ruling Cobra triumvirate, the Baroness. And we will be comparing her to her G.I. Joe classified series self, as I am curious to see if she can fit on that coil cycle. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits, and today we are taking a detailed look at the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins Baroness figure, her weapons and accessories, and for fun, since I have the figure, we will be showing you a side-by-side comparison with her G.I. Joe Classified Series figure for scale, and for fun, we will be slapping the Baroness on the G.I. Joe Classified Series Cobra COILS cycle. And let's start off like we usually do and take a look first at the packaging. And the Baroness comes in the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins packaging with the photo of Snake Eyes on the front as well as an action shot. And it looks like the Baroness has some sort of action feature. And this is my first time opening one of these figures, so I can't wait to see what it is. Now, even though this is a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins figure, it would be nice to have a photo of the Baroness here instead of Snake Eyes. And we already have the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins logo at the top here, so it's pretty apparent what this is. And so I would love to see a photo of the Baroness down here. And turning the Baroness around and looking at the back of the packaging, we see some poses that the Baroness has with her gun, another one with her gun over here, and yet we have another action shot, which I think is repeated from the front. But lots of photos of the Baroness here, and can't wait to crack this sucker open. And let's first start off by looking at the Baroness's head sculpt, and her hair is pretty much one solid piece, but I do like some of the sculpting detail here that they've given her, as it looks like she has a very layered look to her hair, which makes it look really natural. And turning the figure back around to get a closer look at her face, and this is not a G.I. Joe classified figure, so you're not going to see a ton of detail in the face, but they did do a nice job constructing the jawbones and the cheeks as well as the lips on this figure. The nose is actually really proportionate and the eyebrows look really nice, and you can see her sunglasses that are black framed with silver paint app on them. But one curious thing is they forgot to put on the frame of the glasses that hooks around the ear, so it looks a little bit weird from the side. And taking a closer look at her torso, it looks like she has some black armor which wraps all the way around to her back, and it kind of looks like a road rash suit that you would wear on a motorcycle. And you also have some blue fabric underneath the armor as well as some red highlights underneath her breastplate there. And the way that these vein out, it kind of looks like she has a Spider-Man t-shirt underneath it, but I'm really curious to know why they put some blue on her breastplate there, because I'm not really sure if it connects to the blue in the rest of her outfit. It just kind of is there, and it's a little bit distracting. One thing I do like about her torso and the way it's painted and layered is all of the texturing that you can see here. There's different texture on the black pieces as well as the blue and as well as the red. And so I think that gives this figure a lot of depth and dimension that you would normally find in a G.I. Joe classified figure. And taking a closer look at the Baroness's arms, her arms are symmetrical, so they are the same on both sides, but I will use both arms to show you some of the details here. So she has a black glove with some forearm armor that has some nice sculpting detail on the other top, and she also has an elbow pad, and if you articulate her arm all the way down, that elbow pad looks like it connects. And she does have a nice piece of shoulder armor there, and she does have some texturing and some other effects that you can see underneath her arm there. So she has really nice arms for a basic figure like this. And taking a look at the back of the figure, you can see the straps continuing down and the armor continuing around her back. And I thought this might be a Cobra symbol, but it just looks like a skull, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, just the way that they've designed that. But I do like some of the sculpting detail that you see on her lower back as well. And moving down to her thighs, you can see some sculpting detail here, which they've tried to recreate some straps, which gives her legs a very layered look and a very interesting piece for such a basic figure. And they did continue the strap detail over her thighs here, so you can see the layered look that you're given. So she's got black straps, blue straps, and then underneath you have her pant detail, and it is the same on both sides. And if we move it around to the back, you can see that strap sculpting continuing around to the back of her thighs as well. And moving down to her boots and her knee armor, you can see that her knee armor is a blue that is the same as her pants and her outfit in general. And if you can take a look, if you articulate her knee, the knee pad is molded onto the lower part of the leg here. And taking a closer look at the boot, I do love the boot detail here that they've given it, along with that little red accent which ties into her chest piece that she's wearing. Now, I was expecting the black part to continue all the way around, but it actually doesn't. It cuts off right in the middle of the leg here, and all you're left with is a blue boot with what looks like a pair of black shin armor, which goes over the boot. And I'm not too fond of the way that her shoes are sculpted, and I think this might be an artifact of it coming out of the mold. You can kind of see some plastic here that was left. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, and you can also see where it's come out of the mold there as well. So it does have a foot peg on the bottom, and like all of the other female figures, these are very hard to stand up. And I just wanted to make one overall comment about the paint app on the upper torso here. I really think they could have handled the paint app. All right, let's take a closer look at the articulation here, and we'll start with the head. And her head has limited movement just because her hair sculpt goes all the way down to her shoulders, but you can move her head from side to side, and you can move it a tiny bit up and down. Now, moving on to her arms can swivel at the shoulders, and they can also swivel at the elbows, but her wrists do not swivel in a circular fashion back and forth, and you do have some arm and elbow articulation front to back as well. And moving down to her torso, and if you remember the action feature, if you twist it this way, she'll come back, but if you turn it the other way, she will stay. So you can put her in different poses, but when you start to do that, you do get that weird little chunky effect where you have her hips separated from her torso. So I just think that looks really weird, so you might just want to keep this facing forward. And moving down to her legs move from side to side, her knees bend forward and back, and there is no swivel in the foot, although the knee swivels at the kneecap there. From the middle of the figure up into her neck a little bit differently, I would rather have seen all of this red or all of this black and just have these little red pieces and red flare outs just sticking out from underneath her armor. So that's really my only gripe with the paint app, as the rest of the figure overall looks really good. I love the way the blues play off the blacks and the reds, and I just think it gives the Baroness a really different look. And the Baroness does come with 3 accessories. She comes with 2 knives and a gun. So let's first take a look at the knife. And the knives are the same, and so let's just take a look at one of them, and you see a knife with a cobra for a handle, which I think is fantastic. And this is something that you would see in a G.I. Joe classified figure, so I'm actually really thrilled that they gave a lot of attention to detail to these accessories. I think the cobra head looks really amazing, and if I can get this to focus again, oh, there we go. The head has a lot of detail in it, and you can see the fangs on the profile, and you can also see a lot of the sculpting detail on the handle and the hilt, which I think is really nice. And you also have some sculpting detail on the knife here as well. And last thing we'll take a look at is her gun. And her gun, there is a lot going on with her gun. So there's a lot of sculpted parts here, which looks like there's a lot of moving parts. And to top it all off, her gun also has a snake head on it as well, and it has some fangs at the end, and I don't actually know what this thing is actually shooting, but it looks really organic, and I'm not sure why they chose to put a hose coming out of the scope, unless it's just something that shoots plasma or venom. Who knows? But I think the gun looks really, really cool. And here is the Baroness all geared up, and she is holding her gun and one of her knives. And since this is not a G.I. Joe classified figure, you will not have anywhere to put these accessories besides on the floor or in your accessory bin if she is not holding them. But she actually looks really cool holding these accessories, and let's show you that action feature that we saw on the front of the box. Now the Baroness comes with an action feature, and all you do is you just twist it back and boom. She can plunge a dagger into anyone, friend or foe. So let's see that again. And one thing to note, if you twist the figure so far back, you'll hear these snaps. And if you release her, she will not come back to center. And so all you do is you just maneuver her back to center and just twist her around so you don't hear those snaps. And I'm not going to do a full comparison with her G.I. Joe classified figure because that would be totally unfair, but I just wanted to show you the scale here. So this G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins figure is about 1/4 of an inch shorter in height, and the girth of the figure is just a lot less compared to the G.I. Joe classified version here. So I really wanted to see how she would do on the coil cycle, so let's show you that next. Now, since the Baroness from the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Origins line is a little bit shorter than the Baroness from the G.I. Joe classified series, I think she actually might go really well with the coil cycle. I do love how the blues play off the reds here, and so let's see how she looks on the cycle. And here's the Baroness on the coil cycle from the G.I. Joe classified series, and I actually think she looks really good. She looks really natural, and her feet actually fit on the pegs without falling off. So I really do like that about this one, and I think the cycle looks maybe a tad bit big for her, but I think you can make it work. And you do have to open up her hands to get her hands to fit around the handlebar here, but that's really easy. You can just pull them up and they will come right back into place. All in all, I am impressed with the details, fits, and finishes that they put on the G.I. Joe Origins Snake Eyes Baroness figure for the price point of only $10.99. I think the Baroness's outfit could have been painted a little differently, but that's really my only gripe with the figure. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and smash that subscribe button on your way out so you can get alerted to new reviews in the future.